out the door and off the radio.
Here's Stephen Phillips.
And good morning, folks. We're coming into you on this Friday. Hope everybody's doing good out there, man. What a wonderful day it is, even though it's 14 degrees or whatever outside. But it's another beautiful day because Trump is in the office, Oval Office, signing all kinds of cool stuff to save you and I money. Good morning, Pat.
Good. Let me know when I start saving money.
Yeah, we already are, man. You just hadn't got here yet.
It's trickle down economics.
Trickle down economics.
Okay.
Yes.
Where am I going to anticipate saving money?
Everywhere, man. Everywhere.
Oh.
Yeah, everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. He's cutting it right and left.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon Biden left President Trump a letter. I guess that's one of the things that all the ex-presidents or the old presidents do. They leave a letter for the new president coming in.
It's a relatively new tradition.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. I think I'm trying to think back to where it started. I think it was Clinton's got a letter. Who was before Clinton? Was H.W. Bush?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think he wrote Clinton a letter. I think that's where it started.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's relatively new.
I've got a little bit of a copy of his letter. I ain't got all of it. Have you seen the whole thing yet?
Yeah, it was very, very well written. Very nice.
Yeah, you hadn't seen the second page though.
There was no second page, but you can go ahead and tell us.
There's where you're
can
wrong.
go ahead and tell us what was on the back side of the first page.
Side. It's actually wasn't the second page. It's on the back side of it.
Yeah, was the back side.
It says,
show us the back side, will you?
I got it from a text from a friend of mine in Nashville, Tennessee. That
Cat turd?
No, he's not doing too good. Cat Turd's sick, I think, right now. So y'all need to pray for Cat Turd. So
okay.
Yeah, he's actually in Nashville in the hospital still, I think, up there. But anyway, on the backside, it says, P.S. Jill and I voted for you. How about that? Was that on the front side? Did you see that?
I didn't see that part.
Yeah. P.S.S.
Yeah.
Trump, this is Jill.
Yeah.
If it don't work out between you and the old lady that you're with now, give me a call sometime. I'm free. So that's what was wrote on the back. So now we know.
You could have done a lot better than that.
I'm just reading what was wrote.
You laugh about there being like a secret letter, though. But I do have a prediction that is not completely my own. But I have a prediction that Biden pardoned himself. There is no legal requirement for him to publicly disclose a pardon. Did you know that?
Well, you might be right about that.
Wait a minute. Why would he pardon himself?
Well,
just in case.
And
No. The Supreme Court said he was immune. The president's immunity.
Yeah, well, let's just wait.
That applies to him.
I know President Trump actually said and mentioned something about he pardoned everybody in his family and everybody else but himself.
He's got immunity. You can't pardon somebody who has immunity.
Just wait and see.
Yeah, but if you got it, okay, you got immunity, but not from espionage, I don't think, do you?
All acts as president.
Acts as president.
Yeah.
Not legal acts as president, I don't think. So.
It's acts that are.
What would you have immunity from? You wouldn't have immunity from legal.
In a political or in a in a presidential capacity.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'd have to be not. And if you're skimming money from China, hey, there you are. Yeah.
You can get into all that if you want to, but I'm just saying, I'll bet you that there is a document that he has not disclosed, and if they ever do go after him, then he could produce it then.
You're probably right.
He's not going to be around that much longer.
Well, you got a good point there. Hey, you guys were talking about, I want to do this really fast. You guys were talking about the 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, right?
Yeah, let's get rid of that.
Now, we were talking about, I kind of always say bipartisanship is a bad thing, and you say it's a good thing. We kind of go back and forth on that a lot, right, Pat?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is kind of a good example of why I think bipartisanship is a bad thing. How do bills like this get passed when there's all these people who are trying to get something they want?
Pork barrel spending, man. This is
right. So you have a few examples of why I think bipartisanship is bad is you have people like, say, like Lisa Murkowski or what's his name, Joe Manchin, and these people who are always on the fence about which way to go, and they can demand things because they have put themselves in a very good situation of being that person who's like, well, if you want my vote, then you're going to have to give my district this.
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody does that in these massive bills, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And before you know it, a 2021 Infrastructure Investments and Jobs Act isn't that anymore. It's got all this other stuff in it.
Read a couple of them.
So $3.5 billion for Amtrak was one of them. Let's see. Lisa Murkowski wanted $100 million bridge. Now, I mean, I understand some of this is infrastructure stuff. Democrat senators wanted water projects in California. How did that go?
Oh, we got no water in California. What the heck are you talking
They
about?
turned the spigot on. They didn't get their water, right?
Let's see. Here's a $15 billion for climate resilience projects.
Yeah, we need that though, Packy.
And who was there right in the middle of that? That was What Manchin, like
Yeah,
I'm
we
talking
gotta
about.
have
Key
that.
centrist Democrat, like they call him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15 billion for what do they call that?
Hey, that's a big deal, Packy.
So wait a minute. The other day you were talking about these elected officials should do what their people sent them to do.
That's Stephen.
And now you're telling me
that's
that
me.
Joe Manchin is not doing what his people sent him to do?
Yeah, that's
Protect
what
the coal industry? You're telling me that's a bad thing? Why?
Hey, man,
I don't understand the inconsistency on this show.
Yeah.
I mean, one day it's this and the next day it's that. I can't keep up. It's like ping pong.
I mean, this global warming stuff's going on. I read where there's an iceberg floating.
There you
fixing
go.
to hit
There
South
you go.
Florida.
See,
You hear that? It's
here's
the
a good
size of
example. We just transitioned from the Infrastructure Act into global warming stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just think about that though. We got this iceberg that's supposed to float and hit South Georgia here before long. Yep, gonna take all the penguins.
Yeah.
That's serious. I'm worried. Are you? Did you read about that?
I have no idea what you're talking about,
Yes,
but
you don't keep up with
you
everything.
sure did change the subject on me once again. Okay.
Oh, well, we got to get to a break. Hey, I want to talk to you. We get back, man. This, I reckon this, of course, Harry jumped on to me about this. The executive order rescinding Lyndon B. Johnson's EO 11246 bill. We need to talk about that when we get back. Can we? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, well, let's talk about that when we get back. All righty, folks, we're back with you. Hope everybody's doing good. We got comments coming in. What we got up there? Look like Ronnie Maxwell's already on the get-go.
He
this
is.
morning.
Hey, Ronnie, good morning. He said, ever felt like you've been trickled on? Well,
Regularly, Ronnie. Regularly.
Yeah, you can call it trickle if you want to, but we all know what you mean. Yeah.
wait, what do you mean?
Yeah. Trickle.
Okay.
Tinkled
Hey,
on. You ever feel like
okay.
you've been tinkled
Good
on?
frosty morning to Mike Whittemore, who's listening to us out there. Good guy with Georgia Mountain Grading.
There you go.
Michael Beeman is listening to us too. Hey, good morning, you guys. And Michael Beeman said, has anyone else got county water that's frozen?
What? That's why I use spring
Which county?
water.
Which county are you in,
He's
Michael?
in towns.
Is he?
I use spring water. You never see a spring freeze unless it gets like sub-zero. That's why I use spring water. Hey, let me ask you something on this. President Trump has signed an executive order rescinding Lyndon B. Johnson's EO 11246 bill. What's your take on this? What is this exactly?
It's not a bill. It's a rule that Johnson signed in the middle 60s, I think 65, 66, someplace in there, that applies to federal contractors.
Right.
That they could not discriminate on the basis of race, gender, or other protected characteristics, I think is what it says. All right. So, and this is my whole point about executive orders and rules as opposed to legislation.
Right.
This is a rule. This is not in legislation. Johnson did it back in 65.
Right.
It's been the law of the land. Well, with the executive order that Trump did the other day on DEI, it also took this out.
Good.
So that
federal contractors now can discriminate on race, gender, or any other what now unprotected
But
characteristics.
see, that's how people take that. So, like, if you really look at what it does, it restores a merit-based opportunity.
That's what I'm thinking.
You know what I mean? And because people take equality and turn it into equity, and they
Well-
say, well, you have to have this amount of diversity in there, which will then in turn lower the quality of workmanship.
I don't disagree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think there probably was a time in our country's history that this was appropriate to do, but it no longer is necessary.
But it's not. But
I think
you
it got
still
out of control, though.
It did, but you still can't say, like, if they could prove. I mean, if somebody could prove that you didn't hire them because they were black, but does that really happen? I mean, do you think that really happens?
If you're white, you probably don't think that really happens. If you're black, you probably think it happens all the time.
Okay.
Well, is there not a thing that you have to hire so many people of different race or color or whatever? I'm trying to think of the name of it.
I guess it is hard for me to.
Were you not paying attention when we were talking about this?
Hey, listen, don't try to belittle me, man. I'll have to drive up.
No,
there.
I'm trying to ask you a question. You raised the issue.
That's just for the. I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So yeah, there was this rule.
So is that not discrimination against the white people, or the person that actually needs the job?
It was reverse discrimination. Yes.
It's not reverse discrimination. It's discrimination.
Yeah, I think so too. Here's the thing that, I don't know if y'all know anything. I watched the thing the other day about, I think it's Vietnam actually. And when they send out, and it's normal practice over there, when they send out a job, they're needing a job. So if I'm advertising for an opening at my business, I can clarify what I'm looking for. If I'm looking for a younger, male that is strong or whatever I want, you can, if you need a woman to be a secretary, you can actually ask for what you're looking for. And now, in America, you have to put out, you have to open the jobs to everybody and they have to fill out the applications, that kind of stuff. But over there, they can actually tell you exactly what they're looking for. You need to be a young, pretty woman because you're going to be a receptionist and we don't want some snaggletooth looking gal in there that stinks.
Or old balding man like me.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I just own it,
Old balding man.
So what are you saying? You'd prefer to be ruled like they do in Vietnam?
I just think if you're looking for somebody to fill a position and you know what you're looking for, you ought to be able to ask for it.
I think the whole point of this is this rule is racism. And Trump did away with racism. Now, that may be insane for some people to try to wrap their head around if you're brainwashed by MSNBC, but hiring based on merit is the non-racist way to do it. If you interject race and say, well, you have to have this many of this color, this many of this color, that is racism. And it doesn't matter which race it is. If you are hiring, considering race in any way, you are a racist.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So now you're going to have to be hired on your merit.
And if you think that it's okay to say, well, we should hire this person because they are black, then you are a racist. Or if it's a white person, it doesn't matter. You hire based on the ability, and that's what this order does. It literally is quoted, ending illegal discrimination and restoring merit-based opportunity.
See, that's why Harry's so upset, because he ain't got a snowball chance, and we're getting a job now, because, you'd have to go on merit. That's the thing.
Well, I feel sorry for him in a way, because you talk about that Episcopal preacher lady. Is it a man or a lady? I don't even know.
It's a lady.
Okay, is it?
I read that
it was a man. I had somewhere.
That's pretty bad, and you can't tell the difference.
Well, and the thing was, is that she said that people are terrified, right? Remember it was directed towards Trump. Well, why are they terrified?
Well, that was my question of Harry.
Yeah, so why? Because of the media.
He never gave me an answer.
The media has made them terrified.
Well, who's after them? They
of
know
what? Of what?
Of Orange Man bad. That's what.
No, that doesn't make any sense. Specifically, what would somebody who's an LGBTQ
great question
XYZ be afraid of?
That's my point. Is like this order, ending illegal discrimination and restoring merit-based opportunity. No, you can't hire somebody because they're black. You can't do that. That's racism. It's not reverse racism. It's racism.
They're the most qualified for the job. I'm good with that.
But that has nothing to do with them being black, though. Right. That's just, it's an Indian. There's a lot of really, really smart Indians. If you look at some of these doctors and stuff, in your in network and you look down there, it's half of them are Indians because they do.
Ooh,
really
that's that in itself is racism.
No, it's not good for
All
them.
the smart doctors are Indians.
Are they or not? I mean, if you
Well,
look at the
you
statistics,
just said half of them were.
if you look at the statistics, they are though. But they're not a white person. They just did really well in school because that's their culture. And I mean, the old jokes of
they don't got
Asians
TikTok
being
over there.
like Asians being strict on their kids, and you have to play the violin and you have to be good at math. Well, like those are stereotypes, but they're true.
Yeah.
And the Asians are very smart people, and they were under the Biden administration discriminated against in order to get more of other races in schools. Asians
Wait a second. If Asians are so smart, why aren't they leading the world? Why is the United States leading the world?
Well, you may think that we are.
We're not.
But in a lot of ways, China is.
Yeah, they are.
China,
No question, China's a competitor,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think they're the leader.
How much money do we owe to China versus how much money China owes to us?
Is that the measure of leadership?
Well, that should tell you a little bit of something.
Where do all the innovations come from, and how do they get to China?
And okay, so what is your measure of world leadership then?
I think it's a variety of things. I think
too,
it's a variety. It's
two
gross
examples.
domestic product. It's a whole list of things: innovation, freedom.
I think we're on the border of not being the leading country. I think it's changing now, but I think we're borderline. I really do, with all that's been going on.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree that we were going in that direction.
You mentioned GDP.
Biden.
United States has a higher nominal GDP than China, but China has a higher GDP when measured by purchasing power parity.
To measure the GDP by per capita.
Hey, can you tell us what GDP stands for all those ignorant rednecks?
Gross domestic product.
Okay, got you. Why don't you just say that?
Because it's easier to say GDP, and that's
right.
the way.
You're right. The United States has a higher per capita. You're right.
Of course, I'm right.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just. Of course, that's a good quote.
When he gets one.
This is not news to our listeners. Okay, they understand.
Yeah, you got one.
But I know. But you know what? Also, isn't news is that we owe money to China. They don't owe money to us. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
true. That's true. You know why we do that? Because as American people, we want cheap. And China does cheap really well.
And we've got tariffs on them now. So that
all you have to do to get a microcosm of the American people is look at social media when somebody's looking for a product or a service. They always say, I want high quality. I want it done tomorrow. And I want it cheap.
Okay, wait a minute. I would like to clarify that. I am going to have to back Pat Malone on this because if you go to Packy's Facebook page, that'll clarify what he's talking about.
Go back for a second, though. If you start talking about GDP, though, Pat, if they deflate their currency and manipulate their currency, that can have massive effects on their GDP, which can make it appear that way. And maybe that would make them appear like they're not leading the world in GDP. But they're ripping us off.
Oh, there ain't no doubt about that.
Because we let them, because we want them to.
Not anymore, we don't.
Baloney.
Just wait.
Do you think anybody has changed their buying habits looking for cheap?
I have. I'm sick of cheap because that stuff from China is junk.
Steven, you're buying 20-year-old car parts, for God's sake.
That's the only ones that work. I mean, that's why I do that. I go back
you're going to junkyards and you're taking them. You're going to pull apart, right?
And it's better. They're better than what you can buy from China. I swear.
Okay, so
when you find something that is new old stock from back in the day, man, that's like gold. That's like gold. I mean, it's like
because and why is it like gold? Because it's better and it's cheaper.
No, it's not cheaper. Trust me. If you buy new old stock, it's not cheaper, but it's worth every penny you pay for it. So you pay for what you get. You get what you pay for. Is that not what they say?
Well, you're the exception to the rule, Stephen. I should have
I
known
know
that.
a lot of
I
folks
should
in my circle. It's like, this is junk. Don't waste your time. What is that new thing? TMU, or is that TMU or TMU or Tell Me or whatever you order?
Yeah,
that?
man.
Yeah.
I bought an
Yeah.
excavator off there. I'm still waiting on it, bro.
It's like $40.
Yeah.
Hey, if you need those little umbrellas for your cocktails, that's the place to get them because
That's
they're cheap.
Oriental Trading.
Yeah,
Is that what that is?
Remember that magazine?
that's what TMU is, the new iteration of.
Hey, we got Bob M up there. What's he saying? He's
Good
got
morning on the dish. Happy Infrastructure Day. May all of your potholes or patholes be filled. Just kidding. Pothole.
Nice.
There you go. We got to get to a break, folks. Hope everybody's doing good out there. And good morning, Bob M. He's one. I don't know. We never did figure out if he's on the Democrat side or Republican side.
He's just floating through life.
He's
Man.
just floating through.
Bob M is leaning to being a pragmatist.
Yeah, he jogs around, smokes his dope. Man, he's got it made. Got it made. Got it made. But anyway, let's we got to get to a break. All righty, folks, back with you. And hot diggity dog, we got Congressman Andrew Clyde on with us. Good morning.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. How are y'all on this very, very cold morning?
We're just hanging in there, man. We're hanging in there. Glad to hear from you. You have been all over the place, man. Every time I look, here you are. You're sitting there with the president. You're with your Speaker Johnson. Y'all just signed the Lakin-Riley Act. I mean, you got everything in the world going on. Tell us.
Well, it has been a very busy week. I went to Washington, D.C., literally on January the 1st, and just getting back. It has been a whirlwind, and our president has been up there keeping the promises that he made to folks. And are you tired of winning yet?
No, not at all. And we're laughing as we go along, man.
I know, I am too. It's phenomenal. What an amazing and historic start to a presidency. It's just been incredible. I mean, to see ICE in action and to see what we've done, what Tom Homan said he would do, he is doing. First day, 460 violent criminal illegal aliens taken off the streets, and just an incredible beginning. But Congress is, we still have a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah,
we have to continue to fund what the president has demanded, because this is what happened when the Biden administration left.
Mm-hmm.
They basically drained the bank accounts or the funding accounts of the specific agencies that they knew would be needed for President Trump to accomplish his agenda. And we're under a continuing resolution right now, working on the appropriations to finish up fiscal year 25, which is the year we're in right now, before we work into FY26 to give President Trump the resources that he needs to accomplish the agenda that he told the American people he would.
Right.
And
so Congressman, based on things that we're doing and things that we need, are we going to have a budget this year? I noticed you got appointed to the House Budget Committee.
Yes,
does that mean we're actually going to have 12 appropriation bills?
Yes, we are. That is exactly correct. I'm on appropriations, you're right. And I was appointed as one of the 3 appropriations liaisons to the Budget Committee. Right. Very, very important position to ensure that the Budget Committee does its work and the Appropriations Committee does its work, so that we will finally have a budget and we will pass the budget and the 12 appropriations. Now, let me remind you, we did 12 appropriations last year in the committee. All right. In FY25, actually, we finished it up before the end of July of 24. We did for FY25. All right. But the Senate did nothing with it, absolutely nothing with it, because it was controlled by the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to do anything with it. They wanted a continuing resolution to continue the Democrat priorities when we have a Republican House. And so that was the whole plan, was to jam us at the end with an omnibus that didn't happen, that we had another continuing resolution, which I don't like. I don't like CRs at all. Because
Congressman, the last time we had a real budget was 1997.
well, I know it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
But
we've been
we're gonna-
running this ship with patchwork CRs since then.
well, CRs and omnibuses, really.
Yeah,
And CRs and omnibuses. But I tell you this, it is past time, and now that we have a Republican-controlled Senate that actually will deal with appropriations, then that gives me hope that we'll actually get these appropriations to the president's desk as individual appropriations and not as a massive omnibus. And it will be with Republican priorities. I mean, that's one of the reasons I came to Congress. And
Would
so
this-
I'm on the appropriate committees to do it. To help do it.
would the structure of Congress now give us a possible repeal of this Appointment Control Act?
Well, that's actually my bill.
I know.
We are, and we introduced it last year in December, and we're going to introduce it again very shortly. We're waiting for a few things, kind of the stars to align here, and I think that will happen in the next week or so. And we will introduce the repeal of the Impoundment Control Act of 1974, which is what Congress passed to ensure or to force the president to spend all the money that Congress appropriated, and basically making what we appropriate the floor, all right, of spending and not the ceiling of spending.
Right.
And in my opinion, it should be the ceiling. In other words, when Congress appropriates money, it's, here you go, Mr. President, you cannot spend more than this. You can spend less to accomplish the job, but you can't spend more. And as a result, you have seen the spending of the executive branch in Congress increase and increase and increase, and where the president doesn't have the, he has the constitutional authority, all right, but the Impoundment Control Act of 1974 makes it more difficult for him to not spend the money. If he can accomplish the same job and spend $8 million and Congress appropriates $10 million, and he can save $2 million, he should be able to do that. And that's what my bill does. It removes the legal ability of people to sue the president when he doesn't spend all the money.
Yeah, see, that's just common sense, man. I mean, honestly,
Yes, it is, but I don't find a lot of that in Washington, D.C., so we got to bring it there.
Oh man, that's just like, come on. But if they don't spend it, you don't get it. I mean, that's kind of the idea, right?
Right. Well, if they don't spend it, well, maybe we should apply it to our national debt and pay down our debt.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It almost seems like, this should trickle down to all facets of the government, though, because it seems like people or organizations in the government should be rewarded for budgeting correctly rather than being penalized for
right.
it. Don't you think?
That is an amazing concept that permeates businesses across the country and corporations across the country because they want to be the most efficient with their money and they don't want to overspend. It's like our state of Georgia. We have that requirement in our Constitution here in Georgia. The Georgia government is not allowed to spend more money than the revenue that they bring in. But the federal government doesn't have that requirement. It's called a balanced budget amendment. And that's another thing that we need to do. That's a very long-term goal. But we need to that's part of being fiscally responsible. And the federal government needs to be moved in that direction and made to get there. And that's one of the reasons why I introduced the Impoundment Control Act. And then we're going to see a balanced budget amendment as well. So, I mean, that was one of the things we fought for last year, and we're going to fight for this year as well.
So now you're in Washington with all this, and of course we just see stuff on TV, but actually what is the feeling when you're in there in the floor? I mean, is everybody pretty hyped about all that's going on with Trump and Elon and all that? I mean, is everybody pretty much revved up and ready to get work done?
We are excited. Yes, we are. I've not been in this kind of position where we have a House, a Senate, and a presidency ever before. I mean, it was Trump's very first term where they had that, and they basically squandered away the first 2 years, and we lost the House. And so, the Democrats took over the House, and you had endless impeachments of President Trump and, trying everything to destroy his agenda.
Right.
And that's not what is going to happen this time. I mean, for President Trump, promises he made, he's keeping his promises, and we're going to help him do that. Many things he can do by executive order, and he has done. I mean, over 100 executive orders. Just think about the J6 guys.
Oh, yeah.
All right. That had been languishing in prison, and President Trump pardoned 1,500, of the J6 guys,
right.
As well as he also pardoned those that the Biden administration weaponized the Department of Justice against in using the FACE Act,
right.
Against the pro-life folks. And by the way, today is the March for Life in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, it is.
Yesterday, I introduced, on the 22nd, the anniversary of the original Roe v. Wade, I introduced a resolution called the Day of Tears to remind people of the tragedy of Roe v. Wade and how many millions of lives it has cost and continues to cost, and abortion continues to cost, because the right to life is one of the unalienable rights that we have that predate our government, predate our Constitution, and unalienable means you can't take it away, but they're taking it away for the most innocent among us, and that is the unborn.
Right.
So, and it's the responsibility of government to protect life. That is in the birth certificate of our nation, the Declaration of Independence.
So let me ask you something. We always argue on this, man, Pat does, about, we got these executive orders and you sign these in. How do we make these laws to where they cannot be undone? I mean, like border security and that kind of stuff. I mean, when you sign executive orders, they can be undone when the next president comes in. Is that some of the stuff that y'all are looking to actually make laws?
That is exactly correct. And I'll give you a great example. I think yesterday or the day before, the president signed an executive order making the Houthis, designating them as a foreign terrorist organization.
Right.
Well, that was actually something he had done in his first term. And then we came along, and there's actually another one of my bills, to declare them, to codify into law that they are a foreign terrorist organization. And that passed the House last year. All right. Of course, the Senate did nothing with it. Well, the president then came back again and signed an executive order that said the Houthis are a foreign terrorist organization. I mean, they've been flying drones and missiles and anything they can to try and sink our ships in the Red Sea.
Right.
That's just not smart, but they're terrorists. And so we are going to come behind that with a piece of legislation that says the Houthis are designated a foreign terrorist organization, so that any future president then cannot just undo that as a pandering to Iran.
Yeah.
Congressman, how quickly will we get this done? Because you made a good point in president's first term, the first 2 years were squandered.
Right. Under Paul Ryan.
And the clock is running.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The clock is running. I mean,
So are we going to get it done before the midterms come up in 26?
Yeah, 2 years, man.
We have 18 months. Actually.
18 months. There you go.
We have 18 months. Right. We have 18 months. And yes, we are going to get it done, but we're going to do it right. Okay. Mm-hmm. We're not going to do a half a job or 3/4 of a job. We're going to get the full job done. And that means spending cuts to reduce the size and scope of government.
Right.
It means extending the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, as much of that as we possibly can, while ensuring that we do not increase our deficit or debt. All right. Fully funding the border so that we can ensure that that President's agenda on deportation is fulfilled, totally and fully fulfilled. Okay. I mean, these are the things that are absolutely necessary to do what the president said he would. And just a great example was his eliminating the electric vehicle mandate. Mm-hmm. That was another piece of legislation. It's called the CARS Act that we introduced last year that passed the House. The Senate did nothing with it, but he signed an executive order to put that in place. But we're going to continue to come behind those executive orders with legislation to make sure that they're codified into law.
I told you, Pat, you wouldn't listen to me. Now, Andrew.
Hey, wait a minute. I being a pragmatist, I got to see it happen before I'm with you.
Show me the money, Pat.
I mean, we've been running this executive order, and then we take it off, and then we put it back on. Not a good way to run the railroad.
No, it's not. And that's why Congress has to come in behind it and do it. Now, the one stumbling block that we have in Congress is in the Senate, and it's called cloture.
Mhm.
And that is the 60-vote rule in the Senate. We do not have 60 Republicans. We have only 53.
Right.
And if you really think Lisa Murkowski is a Republican,
Yeah.
maybe I'm sorry, 53. Maybe we only have 52. But she's one that is not even going to vote to confirm Pete Hegseth as the Secretary of Defense, when he is an incredible Secretary of Defense.
Mm-hmm.
President Trump has made amazing picks for his people, like Russ Vought, the OMB director.
Mm-hmm.
And OMB director has tremendous power. And Russ Vought is an incredibly conservative, very fiscally responsible individual. So when we see the president's picks for his cabinet get confirmed, then we can dial it up really high.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that.
Man,
But that should happen, shouldn't it? Because we don't need the 60 votes. We don't need cloture on that. We only need a simple majority.
Well, you only need a simple majority to pass, but yes, you do need cloture. You do need cloture to go toward, to actually vote on it. And that is what they got. They got cloture on Pete Hegseth and a few others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they didn't need 60 votes there because they lost Murkowski and the woman from Maine. I forget what her name is.
Let's see. Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. They got 51. You're right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
They got 51. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. You are correct.
Okay.
And so.
So we shouldn't have any problem with any nominees for secretaries that I could see.
Not as long as all the Republicans, vote. That's correct. They do vote on cloture. All right, but it only requires 51 for the nominees. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of good things. One of the things they talked about where they actually put the bills out where people can read them before they vote on them. I think that's a good thing. I read something about that.
72 hours, man. 72 hours. It's in our rules. We fought for it last term in the 118th Congress. Under the McCarthy speaker fight.
Right.
We fought for those 72 hours, and we're going to keep those 72 hours. That's the whole point, right there.
Yeah.
You got to be able to read it before you vote on it.
Unless you're Nancy Pelosi, let's vote this thing in, then we'll figure it out.
Unless you're the other side, you're correct.
We have got to go, man.
Hang on, before we do, hang on.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I got one. Our tagline on our show is "Conspiracy Theories Proven Daily." Now, I want to know your opinion on this JFK thing that just that Trump signed
RFK,
today.
JFK, and MLK.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know if you all know, I was born the day JFK was assassinated.
Really?
Yeah, sure was. 22nd of January, 22nd of November, 1963.
Are we going to be surprised,
sure
or are we going to be?
Pardon?
Are we going to be surprised, or what do you think?
Well, I think what President Trump is doing is a very good thing because it is called transparency.
There you go.
And that's what our government needs is transparency. I don't know what it's going to say, but we need to be open and honest with the American people. That's a government by, for, and of the people. And we shouldn't be hiding things from the American people. I can see no advantage whatsoever of maintaining, secrecy on these assassinations. And so what President Trump's doing is absolutely the right thing. I fully support it. And the American people deserve to know, should know, and will know under President Trump.
Thanks, man.
Hey, we appreciate it.
We support you.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
And the Day of Tears, man, I think that's a good thing, no doubt. So
Yes, sir.
Yep. So we'll talk to you in a day or two. I'd love to meet you sometime if you're ever around.
And they're still waiting. They're still waiting on you to pick up your grits over at Logan Turnpike Mill. So they're still sitting there for you.
Well, one of these days on a Friday morning, I will get up there.
Yeah.
I promise, and we'll do this in person.
There you go. All right, we appreciate you, man.
All right, take care, y'all.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All righty, we're back with you. Hope everybody's doing good. Glad Andrew Clyde called in, man. It's always good to hear Andrew Clyde, no doubt, and all that's going on with that, and the pragmatist up here. But hey, I got a report that Harris, that would be Karma, whatever Harris, used to be was running for president. What's her name? Kamala Harris is reportedly in close contact with Hillary Clinton as speculations swirl. I'm telling you, man.
Please do it.
This could mean a number of things, man. I'm telling you, I don't know. This could be bad. There could be somebody taken out, or I don't know. But you get them two crazy women together, man, there ain't no telling. I'm scared. I'll be honest with you. You talk about them other folks scared. I'm a little bit worried right now because, you know, we pushing pretty hard here on the radio, and you know, you never know. And you know, of course,
Chicken's coming home to roost, huh?
there you go. You know, of course, you're in a gated community. You're all right. You know,
Do you think they know where Hiawassee, Georgia is?
I don't know. Yeah, I think
If they need help finding it, I got maps.
Oh, there you go. And I wanted to ask Andrew Clyde. I reckon they got. They're trying to do a constitutional amendment to where Trump could actually have a third term. I hope that works. Have you heard anything about that?
God, no.
What? What did you just say?
I mean, they saw what happened when Roosevelt had 4 terms. They can't do that.
This ain't Roosevelt, man. This is Trump.
Yeah, I know.
All right, we've wasted another hour of your day, but we do appreciate y'all tuning in. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a subscribe on the YouTube channel. We need all the help we get with that. We'll be back Monday morning, bright and early, talk about some more stuff going on in the area. What about you, Pat? You got anything going on this weekend?
I'm always got something going on the weekend when I don't have to work. So
There you go. All right, y'all have a good one.